This is Viterbi Voices.
Coming to you from the University of Southern California, Viterbi School of Engineering.
We're here to give you the inside scoop about research, classes, student life, and so much more.
All of these shared from our students, faculty, and other members of our USC community.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back. Happy New Year. And this is yet again another year and another episode of Viterbi Voices. I am one of your co-hosts. My name is Paul Ledesma. I'm the Executive Director of Undergraduate Admission here at the USC Viterbi School of Engineering.
And hi, everyone. My name is Emily Powis, and I'm a senior studying biomedical engineering.
And we are joined by two other students. Why don't you all both introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit more about yourself? Maya, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Maya. I'm a sophomore studying industrial and systems engineering. I'm originally from Hudson, Wisconsin, and that is actually where I am right now. Took the first week of classes at home, and yeah, looking forward to getting back to LA.
And hi everyone, my name is Cameron. I'm a junior studying computer science and business administration, and I'm originally from Chicago, though I am in LA, so I'm doing the whole classes thing actually from Los Angeles.
Absolutely. Well, welcome back, guys. It's good to see you. And yeah, let's start with the obvious. We're kind of calling this the back to school episode, but even that has a lot of weight and needs some explanation for our listeners, in that we're in this really weird in between phase. And so let me tell all of our listeners what's going on, and then I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on how you're doing and what's happening, and then we'll kind of catch everybody else up on what's been happening on campus. So it was deemed a little while ago, because of the spread of COVID-19 right now, specifically with the Omicron variant, that we would start USC remotely for a little while, and that has since been extended. And so this is technically, we're wrapping up the first week of classes, right? You all have been through your first week of classes, and the first week of classes was done all remotely. So kind of keep everybody separate for a little while longer. That's going to continue until January, at least right now, at time of this recording. The plan is to be back in person on January 24th. And so, Cameron, you just got back to LA. You mentioned Maya, you're still in Wisconsin. Emily, are you still in Colorado?
No, actually, I decided to go on a little bit of a camping trip
Oh, cool.
for the first week of school. Just take advantage of the online time.
Well, there you go. So can you disclose your location, or are you currently in transit?
No, yeah, I'm in my favorite place in California, which is Bishop, California. So for those of you who don't know, Bishop is on the way to Mammoth. There's great climbing, hiking, backpacking, skiing, and good hot springs. So would definitely recommend checking it out if you come like anywhere through this area.
And if you're regular listeners of our podcast, our last episode spent a lot of time talking about Bishop. we did a lot of Bishop. This is now becoming the Bishop subtopic of the podcast.
Yeah, it's true.
So first week remote, definitely not the way anyone wants to do it. Not ideal, but how are you all holding up? Maya, how's it been?
Honestly, definitely better than the first year. So as a sophomore, my first year was completely online, and a lot of people are saying like, oh no, this bodes really poorly for the spring semester. But I have a feeling that this semester is completely different, and a lot of my teachers have actually adapted very well to Zoom, and like people are having their cameras on. So I'm very hopeful this semester will be good. Yeah, it's a little bit cold in Wisconsin where I am. I'm jealous of both like Emily, Cameron, and you, Paul, being in California. But
it's actually a little warm today.
Oh,
not to rub it in.
Is it?
The last couple of days have been a little warm. I'm like, oh wow, I'm not gonna wear a jacket today. I'm gonna wear some shorts.
Oh, nice. I think it was like -20 a couple days ago. So that's what I'm dealing with right now.
-20. Cameron, you too? When did you get into LA, Cam?
So I got in LA Sunday night. That was the 9th. And coming back from Chicago, my flight was delayed because somewhere in the country had snow and they don't know how to deal with a frozen plane. So
Yeah,
delayed me
that's
about 2
Denver.
hours in the airport. Yep, that's Denver. That's Las Vegas. When I first came to USC, that's everywhere. And it had gotten down to -3 right before I left. So glad to jet on out of there. And it was like 77 and sunny. I was like, this is the way I needed to return to LA.
Yeah. Yeah. We're in this it's really weird because it was like super cold and rainy throughout the break, which was kind of a bummer for me and my family because it was like, well, we have a break and we're not gonna do anything. Like we had
Yep.
plans to do things that were canceled because it was gonna be pouring rain. And it's just like it was a really interesting break, and then you come out of it and now you're like, oh, here we go, 75, we're good to go. I'm like, we can you please choose, is it winter or is it not? Like I just need to know. I need to know.
Yeah, it
Emily,
was
how
weird.
go coming back, Cameron?
Yeah, it's so weird. I was checking the weather report. Originally, my family wanted to come to LA because they were like, "Oh, let's visit you, see SC again,"
Do some
and
stuff.
they decided to cancel at the last minute. And I was like, "Okay, that's fine." And I guess I'm glad because it rained on Christmas apparently. So glad
Yeah.
that's wasn't the case. But I mean, it snowed and it was cold in Chicago. So really don't know which one was better.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time we had a rainy Christmas, but it was rainy, and it was rain. It was like not just like rainy, it was like raining, like legit raining. Like there was moments where I woke up in the middle of the night going like, is my roof okay? Like there's some serious
Oh, no.
issues. Emily, how is it out there in Bishop right now?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's actually like, so the sun is super bright here. So when the sun is over the mountains, it's like hot. It's like 60 degrees. I'm in a
Yeah.
tank top, pants or shorts. But then the second the sun goes behind the mountain, it's like so cold. And I'm wearing like 50 jackets, but it's been really great. And it's actually kind of funny. I feel like there's a whole like college reunion happening in Bishop. I'm like seeing all of these different people who are also doing online school. They also had the same idea to like go to Bishop and do their online school and also like go outside.
All of your climbing and outdoor fellow aficionados are out there, had the same idea.
Yeah, for sure. And then for the beginning of my trip, I actually rented out like a whole room of a hostel with a bunch of people from the USC climbing team. And it was like 6 bunk beds in one room. And we formed like our little pod and climbed together and studied. It was super fun actually.
Wow, that's great. I'm curious how you all, you and your families, how are you all holding up? Healthy, COVID wise, everybody okay?
Got COVID the day after Christmas. I think it was linked to like going to a restaurant or something like that. So like that week after Christmas, I was down for the count. Just me and my mom, and my dad, we all caught it. We're doing fine now. So like we're nothing crazy. In fact, it's funny, like, both my parents are at a little higher risk since I'm a little younger, but I had the worst symptoms out of everyone. So
Really?
I guess I was weak and fatigued and had a headache. So I guess my young immune system has failed me. But we're okay now.
Yeah. So I should have just shared my story first because COVID came into my house just after New Year's. My daughter tested positive on the 3rd. I went to test on the 4th. It was inconclusive. I just got another test today. I'm actually not allowed on campus. I found out today because I have an inconclusive test. And yeah, it was I wouldn't say rough. It was just like a big cold flu for us. It was lucky. My wife, absolutely nothing. We joke in the house that it gave her superpowers because she's never felt better for the week. And it was just like, for us, it was like cold and congestion, like maybe like half a day of fever. And we were good, but we were both, my daughter was fully vaxxed. We're vaxxed and boosted. And then in my anecdotal survey of people that got it, because actually it just like ripped through this entire neighborhood. And like everyone, I like all through the 2 years, I haven't met or interacted with anybody that had COVID. And then all of a sudden, starting Christmas, Cameron, I started getting texts from people that like we had plans coming up. Like, we're going to have to stop the plans because I got COVID. Like, it was like all of a sudden everywhere in my life, everyone had it. And we don't even know where ours came from because people that we were with in that time period didn't have it and didn't get it. And so we don't even know what happened. And we weren't doing anything. Or were you, sorry, I want to hear from everybody else too, but Cameron, this is my anecdotal survey of people I know. Were you all boosted or fully vaxxed? Like, was there any correlation to lack of boosting to severity of symptoms?
It could have been a lack of boosting. I had planned on taking the booster shot this past like week before coming back to campus. So, and I was like, oh, I'll get it eventually before I come back to school.
Yeah.
Didn't get it, and just kind of collapsed from there. So yeah,
Yeah.
and my mom and dad, they were still waiting to get their boosters too. Since
But they didn't have as severe symptoms.
Yeah, they didn't have severe symptoms, which is really strange. Like nothing was really bad for them. So
it's so weird. It's hitting everybody in odd ways. But anecdotally of people I know, severity was linked to not being boosted. Or there was a correlation there of like, oh, I didn't have my booster, and they were like down for like 2 days, hardcore. Everyone else was like, oh, it's fine. It's like a head cold.
Oh, see, yeah, I have a pretty similar story to you and Cameron. Paul, I actually just got out of quarantine from COVID 2 days ago.
Me too.
wow.
So pretty similar, and I was totally fine for the first 5 days, I think. And on the 5th day, for some reason, I spiked like 103-degree fever. I was in bed all day, like could not get out.
Oh my God.
Like Tuesday of my classes, so I emailed my teachers. But like I made a super quick recovery, but I got my booster shot about 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, but nobody else in my family got sick. But yeah, this pretty much everyone right now has COVID.
This is crazy. Emily, have you been able to avoid it?
Yeah, I'm honestly not sure how, because both of my parents are doctors and my mom treats COVID patients, but none of us have had it yet. So yeah, we've been very lucky.
I can't wait for 5-10 years from now when they finally discover like what is the link, right? Because people are around it not getting it. People are getting it and they're asymptomatic. People are coming down hardcore. Some people are, oh, it's just sniffles. I'm super curious what the whole thing is. I mean, obviously this is not a science podcast. It's not an infectious disease podcast, but I'm curious, you guys have any thoughts? You have any guesses on what it might be linked to? Like why even amongst this call do we have different reactions?
I have the same curiosity as you. Yeah, like all the COVID studies are really fascinating to me, and it's a little bit similar to my own research. And even right now, we're like have to completely pivot our project again. Like every time there's a new wave, we have to change how we're studying it, because like there's a totally new ball game and new reactions. And
yeah, that's the thing. The variants are all changing. All of this as well, and who knows what variant everybody got. Would somebody get Delta? Did somebody get Omicron? And then this new one that they're tracking, the Deltacron.
Oh
which,
my gosh!
Oh, no.
I can't take it.
I read that.
Hey, you heard about that?
Yeah, I saw a picture of it, like the rendering, and I'm like, this looks like
nasty.
Everyone was saying it came from a video game, and I'm like, well, it looks like pretty nasty. It's like it's got all the worst things, like all your villains are teaming up to form.
It's funny. It's like we're like in a big video game. You said that, and I was like thinking like, oh, we've now just like we passed one boss, and now we're on to the next boss, and now it's like, oh, now there's the harder boss. That's like the combination of the last two. This one not only jumps, but it flies or whatever. It's like crazy.
Yeah, it's rough, but yeah, at least get your sleep and like de-stress, because when I caught it, I was looking for like what makes you susceptible. And like when I go home, I have like really bad time adjusting to time zones. Like I'm really afraid what's gonna happen when I go abroad, because I can barely deal with the 2 hours. And I was working on a project, and so I've been up for a while, like had a little bit of anxiety about that. And they said, what weakens your immune system? They were like lack of sleep, stress, and anxiety. And I'm like, man, I just got all of the risk factors at this point. So get your sleep, guys.
Yeah, sleep is a big deal. Sleep is a big deal. And overall, like stress and anxiety, which is like, oh, don't be stressed, don't be anxious. Like that, you can't tell that to anybody that's stressful or anxious. But I think what is important is, while often overstated or oversimplified, this idea of making wellness a priority in every day. Like whatever that's to you, if that's a walk, if that's a book, if that's a movie, if that's a nap, if that's yoga, if that's working out, like the more of a rigid schedule devoted to wellness will help across the board. It's something that I think is super important. And you brought up going abroad. It's super funny when I used to be involved in the overseas programs. My main thing that I would tell people is like, don't do too much. Like you got to pull it back. You got to start super slow, and you got to sleep, and you got to rest, and like water is an important element. You forget about that. And so it's just really, really like simple stuff that you don't think of, because you think like, oh, I'll be fine. Isn't that a big deal? Other than that, how were your all breaks? Anything exciting happen? Anything, how'd you guys spend this time away from studies now that we're back in it?
So during the school year, I am normally really busy just running from thing to thing. And this break has been one of the first times in a really long time that I think I've just sat and just been okay with doing absolutely nothing and just enjoyed that moment. My family went on a couple trips. So we actually traveled to Costa Rica over Christmas break to visit my cousins who are from England. So
Wow,
that was
Costa Rica.
that was the rendezvous point. It was.
Wait a minute, let me track this. You went to Costa Rica to visit people from England. Is that what you just said?
Yes, precisely.
How does that work? My head's hurting.
My cousins and my mom. So my mom and her sister wanted to find a place that we could all go to and be together. And Costa Rica, I think, was like on the list of approved countries for England. England's quarantine and lockdown has been definitely more strict than the US. So it's been a long time coming. It was about 2 years since we had seen each other. So it was a super fun trip, very warm.
Had you been to Costa Rica before?
I had actually twice and to the same area. So if any, Liberia, Costa Rica, around the coast.
Yeah. Is it so? It's a good trip because that's something that I've always heard great things about, and I've always been interested to go down there.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic trip. If you're looking for anywhere tropical, I would totally recommend Costa Rica over like other like more quote unquote popular spots. I think it's a really cool culture, and they have really great surfing there as well.
Sweet.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah.
Emily?
I had a less interesting break.
I like how you preface it.
Well, I guess it was interesting. It was less fun. I got I had some issues with my tonsils for the past few years, been getting strep all the time. So I got my tonsils removed, which was exciting, but not a very fun experience. So the recovery for that, I was recovering for a long time. And then after that, I did get to go to Rocky Mountain National Park and go snowshoeing with some friends,
Cool.
Explore the area, ski a little bit, spend time with my family. So I ended strong. So I think that's the important part.
I've never had tonsils out. All I know is the kind of the stereotype of it, but is it just nothing but ice cream for days?
Yeah, that was pretty much what it was like. But I have the biggest sweet tooth ever, but I got so sick of ice cream after like day one. I think the hard thing about tonsil surgery is it's like you have like open wounds in the back of your mouth.
Oh.
And I feel like morale wise, it's just like, it kind of sucks because it like gets worse and worse every day for 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden it gets better.
Really?
So I just had no idea how bad it was going to get. And it was just for my morale, it was like sucking my morale out of me.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy. That's crazy.
But I'm so happy I have it gone now, and hopefully we'll never get strep throat again.
Wow. Yeah, I hope so. I hope after all that.
Yeah.
Cameron, how was your break?
Well, break was originally planned to be decent. I was originally supposed to go to Puerto Rico for New Year's to visit a friend. Yeah, it's going to be a great time. Going there, I figured I'd get a chance to escape the cold and snow that I had to shovel, but COVID clearly stopped that. I was going to stay with a friend, so I figured I had to cancel my flight before I knew I had COVID because I was sick, and my thought was even if I didn't have COVID and say it was just a cold or a flu, you don't want to infect someone else's family. So I stayed at home. The first week of the break was relaxing. I did nothing. I binged, watched a bunch of shows on Amazon. The second week was recovering from COVID. And the third week, I actually ended up building an app. So like I'm kind of getting into the CS major stuff, trying to be a real CS major. So I was like, let me try to build an app on this side because I want to try to do a project. So I took one of our like website projects from a CS class that I took this past semester. I just appified it, built an iOS app, and I actually had a chance to download it on my phone. I showed my mom and my family. They were like, whoa, this is so cool. So that was like nerd out moment, but that was really cool for me.
That's awesome. This idea of coming back and being online wasn't good news. And you guys said it's going okay. Like you mentioned, Maya, this idea of like, oh, like we've been here before. We know how to do this. Is that kind of the sense of what's happening? And I know that it's probably too early to tell, but everybody's, as far as your friends and peer groups are going, is everybody, you think, doing okay?
Yeah, I certainly do. And a lot of my friends are honestly similar to Emily. They're like, okay, this is great. Like we're given 2 weeks. Like let's do something for
It's a
ourselves.
nice warm up, right?
Yeah, they're like, let's go on a trip, and then like we know how to do online class. We know how to like structure our day around that. And there's a lot of free time that online class introduces that in-person classes and in-person commitments wouldn't normally allow you to
Mhm.
have. So
Totally.
like
Mhm.
my boyfriend was by where Emily is, he's going skiing, and I know friends who
Mm.
are virtually all over the country. So I think people have a pretty good outlook with this semester.
And it's kind of a well-known secret. The beginning of the semester is usually when things are pretty much the lightest. So like let's warm up this way. It's probably a nice welcome on ramping to the semester.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just the only thing I'm slightly worried about is a lot of my classes this semester are very like oriented towards like being outside or like doing stuff in person.
Mm.
Like I'm taking the sailing class, which I'm really excited
Oh
about. And
yeah.
I'm also taking a wilderness medicine class, and our final is you have to sleep outside without a sleeping bag for one night. That's like the final exam. And then
Where?
my senior
Where?
design, they haven't announced where yet. I think that's what I was most concerned about, but he hasn't told us yet.
I
Because
did that
that'll
when I
be
was a
all the
kid.
difference.
I did that when I was a kid. In Scouts and Boy Scouts, we had to get our wilderness survival merit badge, and part of it was go hiking out into somewhere and then make your own shelter and stay there for the night and come on back. And coincidentally, I did that on Catalina Island.
Oh, yeah. We're definitely going to Catalina Island, hopefully, with that class. But yeah, I guess like also with my senior design class, I'm interested to see how we'll adapt to like transitioning from online back to in person, or if
Mhm.
online gets pushed further.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what'll happen with those classes, because there's such a big emphasis on being in person or doing stuff together.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that the faculty are figuring a plan out right now, or at least they should be. So
Yeah.
everybody has transitioned before and made up some new stuff. And I think that the good news is that no one is learning Zoom these days, right? Everyone's just figuring out
Oh, yeah.
how to optimize is, I guess, the best way to make it work.
Yeah, and some teachers, like I'm taking a general education class on introduction to the genre of poetry right now. And
Your
my teacher was like,
schedule is crazy diverse right now. I'm listening to these courses going, what is this is amazing.
this
Sorry,
is
I
'cause
interrupt.
no, it's because I'm almost done with all my prereqs. So I decided to take just like fun stuff for my last semester.
That's awesome.
But yeah, this class, I love it so far. But my professor was like, I love teaching the class on Zoom because this is a 120-person class. And the way he structures it is everyone like can just raise their hand and make a comment about the poem. And he's like, when we're in person, no one can hear each other. But on Zoom, we can all hear each other very clearly. We can all see the same text and like point at the same things. So I think some professors really like it.
Yeah.
And he said that he wanted to teach his class on Zoom for like the future. And then like the smaller discussion sections would meet in person.
Cool.
Yeah.
What are you two looking forward to for the semester? What do you got on tap?
Oh boy. I'm just looking forward to getting back into the swing of things. My classes are not like Emily's. I'm not taking fun wilderness classes, but like as a sophomore, I'm just starting to get into more technical classes for my major.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to learning more about industrial and systems engineering, particularly machine learning. I'm in a really interesting class right now, and I love the professor. She talks about like AI in society. So she's teaching us deterministic modeling, and I'm looking forward to that class.
What class is it, and who's the professor?
The Phoebe, right?
Yes,
Phoebe
We
Vayanis.
love Phoebe. We love Phoebe. We love Phoebe.
We love Phoebe. Yeah, ISC 330. It's called Operations Research Deterministic Models.
Love it. And getting into
Wow,
some,
that sounds so fancy.
yeah, that's
I
cool.
know.
What's funny, we get so many people that talk about machine learning and saying they want to study machine learning, and they're thinking that's only in computer science, and it's
Oh.
not.
Yeah, actually, I'll probably tell Emily about this next week or whenever we meet, but that's what I want to do um, for my next podcast is just highlight all
Oh,
the things that ISE can do and machine learning and data science. Like ISE is a really big feeder into that. And I think a lot of people don't realize that.
I love it.
I
I
think
love it.
that's such a good
Yeah.
idea because people don't understand what ISE is, especially coming in. And I think that would just be like such a good way to highlight the major.
Yeah, like let's not talk about ISE necessarily, but talk about machine learning and data science
Mhm.
via ISE. I think that's a great topic.
Yeah. And like even
Yeah.
Cameron knows Phoebe.
Yeah,
And
like-
yeah, Phoebe's an ISE professor.
Yeah,
So a lot of
I know who she is. Like I got a chance to talk to her. Like I have a friend who actually works in her lab who's ISE and going to be doing like her PDP, progressive degree program in data science, and is like recruiting for tech jobs like right along with me to like go into that field. So like it's like right up in there. Like if you want to do like AI or ML, it's like basically the same thing, just like whichever one you like more.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
absolutely. That's something I'm interested in myself. So I'm like, this is a great little path and niche.
Very cool. Cameron?
Yeah, so it's funny you actually bring up the AI in society because I'm also taking an introduction to artificial intelligence class, and we had a quick professor swap. One of our professors is actually having a kid, so he's on paternity leave, and so our professor who's subbing in is one of the co-directors for the Center for AI in Society, like Dr. Delkina. So I'm like, this is great. You get a chance to like give taught by like a world-class professional. And like everyone's world-class professional, but she's like the director of the society.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
that's like super cool. Like I don't really know much about AI, but I hear it's a hot topic. I want to see if I like it first. Like I'm cool with like building apps and websites, but if I like AI, who knows? Maybe we go in there, probably catch me and at the same company or something. Yeah, so I'm like really excited for the class. It's got an interesting format. Seems really cool. It seems like it's definitely one of those classes where it's more about learning the content and being able to build your own thing. And so it seems like it'll be chill and we'll get a chance to really focus on that. And yeah, other classes are pretty cool. I'm taking the one business class. I got another software engineering class for building an Android app. Never built an Android app before. I have an iPhone and a Mac. Although I used to be an Android fanatic for all my Android fans out there. Don't let them bully you guys. I still love Android. So we're building Android apps via Android Studio this
But
semester.
you decided you wanted your life to be a little more easier and you didn't want to deal with it anymore. So you switched over to the iPhone and the Mac.
Yeah.
I wanted people to call me. Like as soon as I got my phone, I started getting like way more text messages and FaceTime calls. And I'm like, thought you guys didn't like me. They're like, oh no, you just had an Android.
You were the green bubble. You're the green bubble we didn't want.
I was always the green bubble. I ruined group chats for years.
I have one very particular group chat that I don't like using because it has a green bubble, and we go to another one minus that guy, and I'm always doing that.
I wonder if Apple made that design choice specifically, like we're going to give them the green if it's an Android, like blue is all good if it's all Apple. Like
It's totally
encouraging.
intentional. It's like super intentional. And there were like rumors that they were going to release it for Android, but when you think about it, like that's the only reason why half the people have an iPhone is literally just to be able to text people on iMessage. Like if you got rid of that, like there's no point.
Yeah, it was intentional because it needed to indicate the difference between the iMessage platform and the SMS text platform. And so you needed to know that you were on that type of server connection and data transfer. And then I don't think it was intentional to like segregate the use of these different platforms. It's just a question of iMessage needed like, well, just so you know, now you're in the blue chat. So this is when you can send this, this, and this. And the SMS is entirely there's a different set of rules, which was also linked to carrier fees. Because SMS text messages used at that time you had to pay for, or that were part of something. iMessage was free because it was all done through the internet connection. So there you go. You were going to say something, Emily.
My mom actually asked me the other day. She's like, "Are my texts not going through? Like they don't look normal." She showed me it, and they were just green text messages.
Oh.
I was like, "Oh, those are text messages. They're just not iMessage." And yeah, I thought that was really cute.
Yeah, it's really funny how sometimes your phone just switches to it and you don't have any idea why. And I can't figure it out. And sometimes that goes through, sometimes it doesn't. It's a frustrating element.
It just really depends. But I like just depends on their like internet connection or whatnot. But like I find like WhatsApp is a really good replacement for it. Like especially just because it's like way easier to get data in other countries. Like when my mom travels outside of the country, I like use WhatsApp because it's pretty easy to just hop on there. It's basically the same as iMessage, like minus like two things. So
Right.
You know, but people don't like WhatsApp for some reason.
I just don't want another thing I got to log into. That's why I have my phone. Like I'll use iMessage. If you're not on it, you don't get to talk. Download something else. Do you all have any particular, I don't want to get too deep here, but any like goals for the semester or something like you really want to get done by the time you get into the summer? I'm going to have Emily go last because hers is a much deeper question when you think about her.
That's tough. Goals.
That's a great question, Paul. Let's see. I think Cameron and we might be kind of similar with this, but I'm also interested in learning more about mobile app development and startup culture. So I've been looking into maybe applying to join Troy Labs or try to build out a virtual marketplace for USC graduation photography. So that's something I do on the side as like a business side hustle. So I was wondering if I could potentially make a more streamlined marketplace for people at USC to like put in their availability, their date and time, and then see all the available photographers. So I'm trying to look more into that. So that's my goal for the end of the semester, is to figure that out.
Cool.
Yeah, that's like a pretty big goal. That's like pretty cool. Yeah, definitely like get into the startup space. I can't say I don't have anything like too like overarching goal. Like I don't know, I just want to get back to basics. Like I took a lot of units, a lot of classes last semester, and I don't know, I was kind of lost in the sauce, as you might say. Like just kind of floating around. I had interview season for recruiting, and that just like that's like a whole nother class. If you know anything about recruiting, like especially CS technical recruiting, it's grueling. You have to like interview, and like there's just so much studying for it. It's like this semester I kind of want to like focus on myself. I want to get back on like my meditation habit. That was like something that was really important to me, and it kind of fell off just because like time was kind of a constraint. But I just want to like enjoy things. I feel like I like go to college, like I'm like school, you know, you can get through school, but I feel like since especially because I'm a second semester junior, and like the pandemic kind of took away like into freshman year and sophomore year, just kind of enjoying that time. So like, you know, exploring LA, like maybe taking a trip for spring break to like go to like Mammoth or Big Bear or all these other like million like California places that I have no clue because I'm not from here, but just going to all the cool places, you know, before like I'm too busy. So I don't know, maybe it'll become clear. Like it's just the first week. So
what's your short list
of places to go?
Yeah, because maybe the three of us can jump in and suggest how you prioritize those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So I need to go back to the Bay. I've been to San Francisco for a grand total of 8 hours. San Diego is pretty important. I wanted to go skiing somewhere in California. Like, I don't know, like is that, you can go skiing here, right? I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
This is popular, I think.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Like, are
you a big skier?
Like some type of, I'm not like, I just skateboard, but like, and I've like watched, like, I know it's probably got a high learning curve, but I just want to try it. I feel like it's something that you have to, if you go to school in California, I feel like you have to, you know, ski.
Yeah. So, ladies, what's your prioritization of his what he just said? What should he do first?
I think it depends on the season. Actually, I'm gonna let Emily go. Emily is the outdoor queen. She can give him very good recommendations.
Yes. Also interested in camping too, if you've got any like good camping spots as well.
Have you been to Joshua Tree?
I have not, although I've heard of it. Is that like, should that be top on the list?
Oh, you have to go. That should be top on the list.
Joshua
I was
Tree
going to
top.
say that.
All right, that's going in the
notes.
And
for all of our listeners, maybe explain what Joshua Tree is, where it's at, what is so good about it.
Yeah, Joshua Tree is a national park that's only like 3 to 4 hours away from USC. It's probably like the closest really cool place you can go outside.
More like
in my opinion. Yeah, it depends. But yeah, it's not that far. And then it's just beautiful because there's so many Joshua trees, which are these crazy looking yucca trees that like they're like have these crazy arms. But I think the coolest thing about Joshua Tree is that the rocks are super beautiful. I know I'm a climber, but I think everyone can appreciate the rocks in Joshua Tree. And then if you stay the night in Joshua Tree, there's not as much light pollution, so you can see really beautiful stars. So yeah, I think that's a reason to go.
I think people would be surprised as to how familiar it looks because it's probably been in like every single movie that they've all probably ever seen of any outdoor, like any rock or like big desert-ish landscape. That's likely Joshua Tree.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow, would have never known.
If you've never, so for skiing, yeah, Mammoth is definitely the best. It's about 4 hours away. But if you're not a big skier and you're trying to figure out how to ski at the same time, that might be way more of an investment on your time than you want to do. So you might want to like just
Mhm.
go do Big Bear, because that's maybe an
Mhm.
hour, not even that. And you can get up there and back in the same day. You don't need to stay.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it is literally true. You can surf in the morning and then be skiing in the afternoon.
That should be your goal, Cameron.
Yes, that might be something that's possible if I, fingers crossed, like if I can take the surfing class as a senior.
Mm.
That's like at 8 a.m. and then I can like somehow like go crazy in the evening, just like drive to like Big Bear and then ski. That might actually be possible.
You could do it. I mean, if you're skiing if you're surfing for like an hour in the morning, you'll be at Big Bear by 11 at the latest, and you're off and running. You could be skiing, have a couple runs before lunch. It's quite literally possible if you want to do it. And it's easy to get up there. There's a lot of mountains up there, but like, Bear Mountain or Snow Summit or any of the other ones. It's where I grew up learning how to ski. I remember when I was in college, there was like there's a radio station sponsored overnight ski party, and it was an all night. They were just blaring music on the mountain, and it was night skiing all night. And it was so cool. It was so cold. It was hard to see anything, and probably the most dangerous thing I've ever done, because then we hadn't slept and we had to drive down the mountain in this fog. And it was the most, I swear, I might have almost killed myself and all my roommates, because we were, trying to drive down this windy hill, and not a safe thing to do. But I do have some great memories of skiing at night. It was an interesting experience. Emily, you ever done night skiing?
I haven't. I always want to, and my parents are like, night skiing's not that great. The snow's not good. You
It's
can't
not.
see. It's really
It's
cold.
not. It's really
And like
not.
I ski because I love skiing really technical, like
Oh,
trees or
you'll hate it
like
then.
steeps. Yeah, and my parents were like, "You're just gonna ski the groomer," and I was like, "Okay, I guess I won't prioritize night skiing." Although I do want to do it for sure.
It's one of those things where like it's cool to talk about, but doing it, yeah, it was pretty horrible. It was pretty horrible. It was if it wasn't slushy, it was icy and you couldn't see. Maya, are you a skier?
I have gone a couple times. I'm actually looking out my window at the snow right now, like, oh, I should go skiing before I leave.
Is
So
there
a
good
lot
skiing
of-
in Wisconsin?
There's fairly good skiing. There's a pretty solid hill, like 30 minutes from where I am in Afton, Minnesota. So that is probably where I would go. Though Wisconsin is quite flat, so there are no mountains.
I was gonna
It's
say, I'm like, you have a
Yeah.
hill, of a hill. Like,
Yes. definitely no Mammoth, definitely no Colorado, but we make the most of what we have, and we have a lot of snow.
It's like there's a guy
So-
down the street who has a little bit of an incline on his driveway, and that's where we go.
Yeah, I mostly go sledding in the winter, although that has gotten very dangerous in recent years. So
Really?
yeah, just now like my friends and I know where all the hills are that like people will pour water over it, so it's kind of icy.
Oh my
Hit
gosh.
my tailbone last year, but it's still super fun.
Wow.
That's not fun.
Man.
Emily, you're in your last semester of college. And I know we've talked in the past about you possibly doing kind of this, year off wilderness. What were you? You were going to make a TV show about you, right? It was going to be like the remote emergency technician or something. What's going on with your last semester? What do you hope that you're going to be able to do or accomplish before you get out of here?
Yeah, I have like too many goals. So I guess I'll start from like my lowest, like least like important to like the more important ones.
Okay.
But I kind of at a basic level, I've been really excited about climbing, but I realized like that I'll be in LA for a short time. So I want to explore the LA area more. And I have like this project, which is code word for like a climb I've been working on. So I'm hoping I can do that before I graduate, but we'll see about that. And then like Cameron mentioned meditation, which is actually something that I've been doing this year. Something like I found out recently is that if you live in LA County, you can get a free Headspace membership.
Yep.
So I would definitely recommend getting that if you don't have it. And I've been meditating twice a day now with that. So I'm hoping to keep that up. But then the big goal is like medical school, which I've been like ramping up to apply to. Which like I'll submit my application like May and June. Hopefully go live in some like rural area. I'm hoping Bishop, and work as an emergency medical technician or maybe a scribe, just to get some experience, but also like take advantage of a year where I can do whatever I want, before I go to medical school and have to study my butt off for 4 years.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. And do you know, jumping a little bit ahead, but do you know what your plans are for medical school as far as like what area of medicine you want to focus on, or are we not there yet?
I feel like it's a little bit too early to know for sure.
Sure.
I'm definitely really interested in pediatrics and emergency medicine. And I recently found out that there's wilderness medicine as well. So those are things I definitely want to look into. And I found out that there are some cool like grads from USC that are like big in wilderness medicine.
Oh,
So
really?
I'm planning on using my Trojan family connections to network, which I'm not super familiar with. So I'm excited for that.
It's just sending some emails. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, I know. I might ask you guys for help. I'm pre-med. I don't do very much networking.
The key to networking is that you know people. That's it. And then you just ask people things over time. That's all. Networking is overblown as something you're supposed to do. If you build community, which you have done, then you have a network at your ready. It's just a question of how you utilize it. And utilizing it is sending an email saying, hey, I don't know if you know anybody, or would you put me in touch with, or et cetera, et cetera. That's it. You're done.
So I guess you could say that my camping trip this week is a networking trip.
Yes.
So
No, I don't know if it's on the podcast or I've just been talking about this a lot lately, but it was on our AMA event we had last week, where involvement and activities and kind of having each of your individual communities, like all the stuff that you've done over your time at USC, whether it's been 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years, what you've been doing, whether intentional or not, is you've been building your community to enjoy yourselves and to be successful. And as you start to exit, that actually becomes a professional network that you then build on with professional experience as well. It's so as simple as a first year in a job working at XYZ company, knowing a friend from college that's working at ABC company across town, and someone has a question about that company. Like, oh, I know that person over there. Like, let me reach out and see what's going on. Or you're looking to switch jobs, or you're looking to figure out what's going on. You reach out and say, hey, do you have any opportunities or anything that you're going to know about? Or if you have future opportunities, who's the first people you look for is people that you know. And you'll be thinking like, oh, I want to hire somebody, or we need to recruit somebody that's good at X. I know so-and-so from SC. I'm going to reach out to them, see if they are interested or if they know of anybody. And it's the idea of that kind of exponential kind of reach that you have from your community now. So that's all networking it is. Don't let that word get in your head as like you're good at it, you're bad at it, or you have experience in it or not. It's business majors think networking's a thing they do, and that's it's not. It's networking is using a community that you've built over time.
that makes me feel a lot better.
That's all it is. And yeah, so please know that, because you actually have a very strong network. So the last thing I want to ask each of you is, and I know Maya, you had sent something out earlier today, in case any one of our current students are listening. The application to become a Viterbi student ambassador is open now, right? Do you want to talk about that and let everybody know how they can apply and what this jazz is all about?
Yeah, so the Viterbi student ambassador application, as Paul said, is live as of today. So the application should be due February 4th. So yeah, as soon as you hear this, if it's before February 4th, my recommendation would be just to get working on that as much as you can. But yeah, as I've absolutely loved being a Viterbi student ambassador, and I'm sure Cameron, Emily shared the same thing. So yeah, we'll be putting out various information sessions where it'll be us VSAs talking about our experience and what the application process will look like. But the application should be a couple of essays, asking for some other documentation just about your time at USC, and it's open to all current freshmen, sophomores, and juniors at USC, specifically within Viterbi. So if you're not graduating in the next year like Emily, totally look at the application, and yeah, just apply. That's my recommendation.
And how would they go about applying? Where do they go?
Yeah, the link is in the bio of the Viterbi student Instagram, which would be Viterbi student. And it's also, if you look up Viterbi Voices I believe .usc /VSA.
Yeah, viterbivoices.usc.edu/VSA. And
Yes.
you'll learn more about what the VSAs do and how to apply there. I wouldn't call them essays. They're like short answer responses. They're like a paragraph, maybe two.
Yeah.
So don't worry too much about it, but there is a complete application. It probably takes about 30 minutes to complete. And you want to check that out so you can start to work on your application and get that submitted by February 4th, right?
Yep, absolutely.
February 4th. And then as VSAs, I know you guys know that there's been a lot of behind the scenes stuff and changes with your retreat, but your spring retreat's coming up. Are you guys excited? And I'll tell you, I know exactly what you're doing, but I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Oh, you always do
Excited.
this. You're such a secretive person.
I know everything.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited. Both Cameron and I have been VSAs for a couple years now. We've never done the like elusive, fun VSA retreats.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
this is
Yeah.
the first time we're doing a spring retreat in years. And I'm excited to say that it will be something that we have never done before. And it is going to be a whole new thing that I'm super, super pumped about. And probably the cool part about it is that, you know, I'm no longer in charge of it. So that's what makes it probably way more fun for you guys. So I know what's going on, and I can't tell you how excited I am for you guys. It will be a lot of fun. So make sure that you have your mindset ready for that day, because it's going to be a big day. You're going to do lots of cool stuff. You're going to have lots of fun and hopefully build some memories out of that too. And again, build your network as a result of that community that you're part of.
Right.
Oh my gosh, it's come full circle. Thank you.
See, there you go. All right, y'all. Well, hey, thanks so much for catching everybody up on what's going on in your life. And of course, you know, we're doing our best to get through this very tentative, you know, situation we're all living through right now. Everybody's dealing with it in different ways. And I'm glad to hear that you all are doing well. I really appreciate that. Let me know if you guys ever need anything. And for all of our listeners out there, you know, I think the one question I'm getting a lot is, especially as people submitted their applications, is like, are you taking into consideration that my junior year was different? I'm like, yeah, it was different for everybody, guys. Like, and I try not to be rude about it, but I'm like, we're all dealing with this. And we're all doing our best to make sure that we're getting through it as best we can. I hope you all as listeners are doing well and as healthy as you can possibly be. And, you know, nothing's cool about this. Nothing's good about this. And I think the hard part now is the duration of which this has gone on. And, you know, we all think we're coming out of the woods and then something else changes it. But we'll get through it. We're made to do hard things, and I believe you guys will be doing really, really well. So I really appreciate all of your guys' advice relative to wellness and kind of getting through some stuff and kind of how you're going to stay yourselves, stay on track to do the things, because I think it's important for specifically high school students to recognize that college students aren't just this factory of work that they do. It's about balance. It's about finding those opportunities, being mindful of those different things. And you all articulated that incredibly well, and all in your own unique fashion of how you create your lives. And I think that's important for high school students to hear, because I think everyone thinks like, oh, I'm just supposed to study. I'm just supposed to do well. It's like, can't do that if something else is wrong in your life. So thank you all. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend. And for all of you listeners out there, welcome back to the podcast. We got a lot of new episodes coming your way. And we're excited to bring them to you wherever you subscribe to your podcast. So have a good one. We'll see you next week.